Are you familiar with Caribert and the curse of Khaenri'ah? If not, then listen on, but at the risk of major spoilers if you haven't played the latest Archon quest. However, we recommend you to go experience it yourself first, because it is amazing. This is the 6th act in chapter 3 of the main Archon quest, where we, the Traveler, run into Dainsleif again. As the history of this game stands witness, Dainsleif is the harbinger of mysteries, twists and turns in the story whenever we encounter him. Now let us dive into the mysterious world of Caribert and the curse of Khaenri'ah in 4 parts. Destined Encounter. Walking around Port Ormos, we get a letter from Kaeaya, who is currently in Sumeru. We find him at Jafar Tavern, and he states that he came to scout out Sumeru's alcohol industry. Was this the whole truth? It feels odd how he was here, considering the timing. The theory that he is Caribert or is heavily connected to him starts here. Kaeaya states that he has been to Sumeru as a kid. His roots lay in Khaenri'ah, so he snuck onto a ship to visit Sumeru, which supposedly lies above Khaenri'ah. But his plans were thwarted midway. He seems to not know much about Khaenri'ah and doesn't seem to care either. The only connection he has is his last name, Alberich. This is where Dainsleif appears. There is a possibility Kaeaya, or someone else, his father perhaps, suppressed his memories pertaining to his past. We do get to hear that small voice line of his father speaking to him back in Of Ballets and Brews, hinting at a bigger plan. We still do not know Kaeya's allegiance, but many speculate that he is a double agent, loyal for Mond. He could also be hiding something behind his eye patch. Dainsleif drops a bomb here, stating that Kaeya's ancestors are the founders of the Abyss Order. Kaeaya suspiciously dodges the question of whether he sides with the Abyss Order, stating that he's willing to fight it. Afterwards, he casually flees the situation. Kaeaya never shows up again. Caribert's mother hails from Mondstadt, the nation that is most mysterious of all. The cycle of fate also hints at everything returning to Mond after our journey. The place where it began. Coincidentally, the place where our siblings' journey began. Khaenri'ah was destroyed. Being the Chad that he is, Dainsleif wonders about Kaeya's feelings towards Khaenri'ah and his connection to the Order. Either way, Dainsleif had recovered some memories about the Loom of Fate, which the Abyss sibling mentioned in Sumeru. Thus, we make a beeline for a Vidya forest to find clues. The forest where we form the connection to the Irminsul. The cave we find later is suspiciously close to the location too. Another question is, how Greater Lord Rakadevata could stay in Sumeru when hell was breaking loose underneath. On the other hand, many fragments of Khaenri'ah remain in Mond, including Kaeaya and Albedo. Venti definitely knows about this and lets them be, possibly even sheltering them. We find a small field beside an old hut. Dane finds the place familiar, but the only odd thing inside is a broken mirror. The field also seems to be attracting monsters, so Dane heads off to investigate. We set up camp and talk about our sibling. The Traveler states that they often went stargazing and scattered out planets to visit. Afterwards, we fall asleep while Paimon keeps watch. The Traveler mentions how Venti's eyes remind him of their home world. Add this to the fact that Venti seems to know us in advance. The theory that he is connected to the world the Travelers came from gets more depth here. Also, it is no coincidence that we start in Mond. Fortune-mocking pedigree. We wake up alone and encounter a man who scolds us for intruding. He states that our companion left for the forest, so we choose to stay and investigate. This man, Ide, is sheltering an unconscious Hilichurl, wearing a purple scarf. Turns out Ide is Khaenri'ah and clearly detests the gods. The single bloodline which founded Khaenri'ah welcomed all who didn't follow gods. These pure-blooded Khaenri'ahs were cursed with immortality, like Dane, while the others were turned into Hilichurls. This particular Hilichurl, Caribert, is his illegitimate son of mixed blood. The mother seems to be long gone, But we find Ide working on a potion to return Caribert to his human senses. The final step is the blessing of the Dendro Archon, which is the toughest part for Ide. Caribert I was a real-world king. The bishops accused him of a plague sent as punishment by gods for committing a sin. This plague could very well be the curse of Khaenri'ah. King Caribert I had a younger brother named Guntram, who possibly parallels Kaeaya, who ascended to the throne after him. The medicine doesn't work, so we start making more. During the final steps, we notice Caribert heading into the forest. The Lamenter is at fate's end. The hilichurl is not Caribert, but we follow it into an ominous cave. We find numerous hilichurls praying, and an abyss being, not of the order, looks mildly like Cryo Abyss Herald. After defeating it, Ide is left in awe at everything. At the end, we find a huge purple crystal hung mid-air by numerous chains, eerily similar to the defiled statue from Mondstadt. Ide starts bowing, and a mysterious voice called the Sinner speaks. After Ide regains consciousness, he returns to administer the medicine, which now works, and Caribert regains consciousness. Overcome with happiness, Ide firmly believes the Sinner helped them. The Sinner could be the second who came. This crystal looked like it existed prior to the cataclysm. The sanctuary ruins are similar in architecture to the inverted ruins in Economia, hinting at the primordial unified civilization, which ended with the invasion of the Second. It possibly brought forward knowledge which led to the rebellion of the Sealies and the death of the Moon Sisters, and is not a god. So there are not many powerful enough candidates, other than another descender. The Sinner could be Gold, Reyndottir. She fits the bill of the Great Sinner, but this crystal was referred to as male. So this could be another abyssal entity altogether. The Light Realm had 7 sovereigns, which were defeated by Fanes. Could this be a survivor of sorts? Portended fate. We return to the cave, but the crystal has disappeared. Meanwhile, Caribert goes missing, and the mirror from earlier is broken. But Ide says that it wasn't broken before. We later find him at the edge of a cliff, emanating ominous abyssal power as he removes his mask. Inside the hut, Ide reveals his real name, Clothar Alberich, the founder of the Abyss Order. To make things worse, he addresses us as the prince or princess of Khaenri'ah. Panicking, we pick up the broken mirror to see the reflection of our sibling, and hear Clothar declaring war on the gods.
Traveler!
With that,
Traveler!
we lose consciousness. Alberich comes from Norse mythology. The story tells of a dwarf chief Alberich who gains the power to forge a ring after renouncing love and stealing gold of the river Rain. Gold and Reyndottir. We awaken to Dainsleif and Paimon, to whom we explain our experience. Dane concludes that those were our siblings' memories from centuries ago. After digging the field, we find the buried remains of Clothar and his wife. Clothar had disappeared 100 years after finding the Order, and had somehow managed to overcome the curse. Genshin has an 8th god. The Norns are weavers of fate, as such the loom of fate stemming from the abyss. Norns are known for shaping the course of human destinies. Coincidence? Dainsleif decides to part ways because the Sinner might have seen the Traveler. He has his suspicions, but needs to research further. Meanwhile, we realize how lonely things get without Paimon, so we hug her out of appreciation. Let us know your thoughts about the mysteries and lore surrounding Caribert in the comments. Like this video and subscribe to our channel for more similar and intriguing videos. Hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any of it. See you again, travelers. Ad Astra Abyssosk.